we started this topic in the last class. Examination of disputed, photocopied, or computer-generated document. And we said that there are two things that we may be looking for when we are to conduct examination on disputed, photocopied, or computer-generated document. We said the first one is we may want to confirm the origin of we want to determine the origin of a document or the authenticity. So last week we treated how to determine the origin of disputed photocopy or computer generated document. So and we talk about how we can what you can do so that you can link a document, a disputed photocopy or computer generated document to a particular photocopier. But today we want to discuss how to authenticate a document, how to authenticate a disputed photocopy or computer generated document. So the first one is a visual inspection. When inspecting documents, it is essential to identify any sign that may indicate forgery. So the things to take note are the following. In this visual inspection, we are going to use our eyes, our unneeded eyes, to scan through the document and try as much as possible to take note of the following. Number one, we try to see if there's any error in the data entry. For example, there may be misspelled name. The forger may misspell the name on the document. For example, the name of it is possible that the document is addressed to a figure in an organization, and the way that figure writes his name may not be something that is popular with people that are not close to him, maybe that are not member of the organization. For example, let me give example of some name. For example, if you are a Christian and you want to, there are two ways of writing Emmanuel. We have E-M-M-A and so on and so forth like that. Then we have I. So both of them are pronounced Emmanuel, but one starts with I, the other one starts with E. The one with I is not so much common. So if that person, that figure that they address the document to, is using the one that is not common, the one that started with I, the forger may not know, may just use the other one. So all these things may give him away. Or for example, somebody that's a Muslim, the way every Muslim write Muhammad is not the same. It's not the same. So it is those people that are close to him, close to that person, that may know the right spelling that he used for his own name. So somebody outside that is not acquainted with how he spell his name may not get it right. So we have to look for errors in the data entry inside the document. There are some other data that may be wrong. For example, the date may be wrongly inserted, and some other data like that. So let's look for errors in the data entry. Then another thing we look for, number two, another thing we look for is missing or altered number. Because most of the time that forgers, when they are trying to forge any document, the purpose of the document will always be what they focus on. In most time, the purpose of the document. So if the document is talking about, for example, of obtaining a kind of favor from that organization, the major part of the document that highlights that thing they are looking for is where they concentrate most. So you may not find error in most time in those areas, but things like numbers that they may not even think of. For example, if the document is more than 2, 3, or 4 pages, the original document may have paragraphs that are numbered, but his own may not be numbered, the forger's own may not be numbered, or they may be numbers, he may number them but may not number them adequately. Maybe a number is missing, like you have page 1, page 2, and page 3 is missing. So all these things, all these small things may be a red flag to forgery. Then we have mismatched logos and address. Let's also look for mismatched logos and addresses. Mismatched logos and addresses. Most times, these days, almost all organizations will have their logo because of the website. We have their logo on the internet. There are times you have 2 versions of logo of an entity on the internet. Perhaps the first one they use has been, they have made another one that maybe they included some things in the logo, and the older one is still there. So the other one that is still there probably has been used for a long period of time, and that one is what is commonly known. Go to the internet and download the old one. Using it may give him away. And even the address, that sometimes the address of organization might have changed, even though their location is still the same location, but the way they address now, they address the place probably has changed. All these things may be a kind of red flag to forgery. Then we have unusual formatting. There are organizations where every document that come out of the organization have a unique formatting. For example, the way they bold, the formatting is the way they lay out the document on the paper. The way they use italics, bold, the kind of font they choose, and some other things like that. So the way they do it, the formatting is unique to some organization. And if there's any document that is coming out of that place, it is easy for a question document examiner to use that one to discover forgery. Before I move further, forgery is when a forger takes up an original document and try to change some things in it in order to present it as a genuine one. For example, maybe he removes some paragraph or some items from the document or add some other ones to it, or replace the one that was there with some of his own, or perhaps he used the letterhead of the organization to create a new document with signature, a forged signature, using a model from the organization. So all these things all this type of forgery is known as all this type of fraudulent way of creating document is known as a forgery. But there are instances where the forger will create a document afresh without having any original as a model. and not even having the instrument or any instrument from the organization as a model or as an instrument to be used. So in that case, we call that one fake. That is fake. But the first one that I mentioned is known as a forgery. At times, those one that we forge document, they may go as far as going to the to dark web to buy letterheads of an entity, or they may even use some fraudulent staff to get things like a letterhead and so on and so forth from the organization. So all these things must be, we have to take note of those things that we have mentioned: errors in the data, missing or altered numbers, mismatched logos and address, and lastly, unusual formatting. So let's take note of that one when we are and there are cases where you may not even need the original before you discover that this document is forged or fake. So let's move ahead. We have mentioned that the first method we use is visual inspection. And visual inspection is when you use your eyes to scan through the document in order to discover some anomalies or some red flag to forgery. Now, the second method we use is advanced techniques. And in this advanced techniques, we'll be discussing some things. The first one we are going to discuss is using electrostatic detection device. Even though these days many of the forgers, they like to use computer is very easy for them to use, but we still have some forgers that do their things manually. So when what they do is that they may use some object to remove some part of the document, like for example removing a word from a line or a paragraph. And one thing with document is this: if a word is removed from a document, that the removal of that word may change the summary or what the document is talking about, the whole thing that is talking about. Just a word, by removing a word, can change the meaning. Adding another one to it may also change the intention of the writer. So we in a case where something has been used to remove part of the document, what has been used to remove part of the document will have impact. That is when you have impact on the paper. Though the impact, the indentation may not appear much so that the naked eyes will see very well, but electrostatic detection device will make it clear, will make it visible. When we visualize it, it will make it visible, and making it visible to the naked eyes will enable us to know that something had happened to the document. So that if you are able to visualize an indented impression on a disputed document, then that one is a red flag to forgery. So another thing, we use photography and imaging equipment on the paper. We try to look for alterations, obliterations, and erasures that may not be visible to the human eyes. What this imaging equipment, what they do is that some have ultraviolet light. Shedding this light upon them will make ink of different ingredients to manifest differently. And even if it is a document that is made up of toner and something was removed and inserted, If the toner are not from the same manufacturer, they will manifest differently under the under infrared rays or ultraviolet rays. So imaging equipment can be used to detect all this. So if you are able to see to detect that different ink has been used to, maybe two ink has been used on a document, that's a pointer to it's a red flag to forgery. Another one is typefaces. Something we should look for is typefaces. Now, a document, either photocopied, disputed photocopy, or disputed computer generated document that was printed on printer, we can use the typeface on the document to examine it whether it is a forged document or not. Font is so powerful that if we use it very well, it can help us to discover forged document. At times, a font that was used to create the original document may resemble the one that was used to create the forged one, the non-genuine document. They may resemble. You may just look at it and think that they are the same, but by the time you use font analyzer to analyze it, then you discover that there are two different fonts, that the font are not the same. The one on the forge is not the same with that of the original. And apart from that one, without even having the original document, the known with you, the font may give away some forger. Let me give an instance of a work that I did some time ago. In a community, they were fighting over, two communities were fighting over a piece of land, and after a period of time they settled it, and they forgot it. They forgot about that thing. They settled the matter, and after several years, another thing happened, and one of the communities just went to the court. They brought out a document purported to be created in a particular year. But by the time I looked, and the document was sent to us in the office, and by the time I look at it, I took the font to the database of the manufacturer of some typewriter that were common then, because the document was made with a typewriter, not with computer. So I took the font to the website, and by the time I work on it, I discovered that the exact font that they use and the date that it was produced, because every font will have a day that it was made public. So I look at the font. I went to the database, and I discovered the date the font was made with the typewriter. So the date of the typewriter and the date of the font. The date of the typewriter and the font has not been, both of them has not been existent before the year that is on the document. The claim is that the document was created on the date that was on it, and that the font and the typewriter has not been manufactured then. So how can a document that was produced in a certain year be older than the font and the typewriter that was used to make it. That is not possible. Some tools on the internet that where you can go to discover the type of font that is on document. If the document is a printed document, a disputed photocopied or computer generated document, all you need to do is to scan it with OCR. Scan it so that it can you can turn it to document. So I will just give you some of this name. The first one I mentioned is what the font. What the font is located at whatthefont.com. Then we have my fonts at myfont.com. Then also we have a font square Macherator, font square Macherator, and there are still some other ones like that. So just go to any of these, and there you will have the tool which you can use to analyze your typeface. Then apart from that one, you look at the document and see if there's any mechanical impression like a rubber stamp or seal. If there is any, compare it with what you have on the original document or from an office from which the document is claiming that is from. Then another thing you look for is if the printed document has been altered. If you are suspecting that the printed document has been altered, you can analyze the pixel. Analysis of the pixel can be done. So the pixel is a unit of information of any image on the computer system. For example, letter A, if by the time you look at it, you have something like blocks of images. The blocks for as if they divide into blocks. So that is what you call pixels. So if this pixel for every text will remain the same, if you copy from one computer to another computer, it will remain the same. But by the time you copy it from a document and you take it to another document, at the edge of the text that you copy to another document, the pixels there will change. It will change. So the pixel will not be, it won't tally with others. It won't tally with others that it made there. So you have to check if a scanned or printed document has been altered by analyzing the pixel. So when it comes to computer images or text or pictures, regular patterns of pixels are easy to distinguish alongside pasted areas. So along the area in which that new text is pasted to, you can distinguish that. You can easily distinguish it. You can easily know that this area is cut and paste. So let's go to the last one. If there's any signature, if the document has a signature or signatures, you have to look for sign of cut and paste. Cut and paste can be done manually or electronically. If it is done manually, you look for faint shadow lines or misalignment. You can see a faint shadow lines that will be around the signature. The reason for this is this: because it is done manually, the original document from which they want to extract the signature will be photocopy, then cut. That signature alone will be cut to extract it from that place, and they now put it where they want it to be on the document they forge. Then they will now photocopy it. The photocopy now will be used as either photocopy it and use as original, or and use it, yes, to use it as original, or they may scan the whole thing to the system like that. Or in most cases, what they do is that they scan the document to the system and scan the image of the signature, scan it to the system and cut and paste it there. So this is that's another way they can cut and paste it electronically. So where it is cut and paste electronically, you share the pixel. The pixel will give the forger away. So this is where we are going to stop today. The course material, the test, the course material in test form is in the class, will be posted to the class. So go there and download it. The recordings also will be sent to you so that I can benefit from it. See you in the next class. Thank you.